Welcome to Real Angel Chronicles. I'm your host, Jen Elizabeth. My guest today is Sandra Rose, and she had an incredible out-of-body experience and near-death experience. So we're going to go ahead and cover that in detail today. I'm so excited. So welcome, and I'm honored to have you here as a guest today. Thank you, Sandra. So I think what we'll do is we're just going to jump right into the NDE, and I will let you take over from there.
It was colorful.
Yeah.
I had gone into the hospital I had a tumor that went from the size of a walnut to the size of a cantaloupe. So obviously my tummy was opened up a great deal. And I'd had the surgery. I woke up that morning. I felt so good. The cancer thread is gone. I don't have to worry anymore. And the nurse said, let's go for a walk. Well, yes. Well, I waddled, but I walked. And as I was walking down the hall, the nurse pulled my shoulders back. And I remember feeling a searing pain. And I remember getting back into my bed saying, oh, thank goodness I'm back in my bed. And it was daylight, around 3 o'clock, I think, if I remember right. And I went to sleep. Well, I woke up and it was dark because my roommate's television was flickering and the lights were off. I thought, oh dear, I'm wet. I wet the bed. I was so embarrassed to think I'd wet the bed. I go, oh gosh. Well, I went to call the nurse. Well, of course, my arm was on a rigid, back then they did rigid IV boards. No, didn't have that. So I said, please call the nurse. I wet myself, I think. Oh gosh, please call the nurse. Well, the light went on, the nurse's call button went on, and all I saw was red. I had bled out up in through to my blankets, so I was red. And as soon as I screamed, immediately, instantaneously left my body. And I went up this way at first with my head here. But then I kind of went this way because I remember looking down because at the top of the hospital room, and I was watching Dr. Jim O'Keefe working on me, and the nurses trying to, get the blood and all this. And this is really kind of neat watching all of this going on down there. I felt nothing. I felt no pain. I knew that was me, but I really didn't care. But that was me. And I started to turn a little bit, and there was an aperture in the ceiling, and my body just raised up and went right out through it.
So you didn't feel any sense of panic that you'd left your body. It just felt like the most natural
It was
thing.
fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. I was not scared at all. I thought this is interesting because I've never felt floating, flying before, and I was watching them, and it was exciting. And then when that aperture opened up, I was like, oh my gosh, I know I'm in a hospital room, but I see clouds.
And that must have just completely captured your attention.
Would you like to tell? I'll tell you what happened when I went up through the ceiling.
Yes, I would love to hear it.
Flying, I could see the hospital down there, and Glens Falls has a beautiful falls, and there's the Hudson River. Oh, there's my house down there. I'm kind of flying at rooftop level, and all of a sudden, I was up into the clouds where the jets are. I thought, this is really interesting. Whoa, I'm flying through clouds. And then I started to accelerate. I went faster and faster and faster and faster. Would you like to hear what I saw?
Yes.
You know how you hear the old Star Trek movie, the Starship Enterprise goes through warp speed?
Yes.
People tell you, I was going through star fields. People that have passed off it, they've seen a black tunnel or a dark tunnel or a white tunnel. I was going through space, and it was big space. It wasn't tight. I could see planets. I could see nebula, and I saw stars. I was zooming, and it was so exciting. I was exhilarated by what was going on. I don't know how far I went or for how long I went, but then in the distance I could see a bright light at the horizon, and I remember thinking, whoa, what's this? And I started to slow down more and more, and I could see a city ahead of me, like in a big beautiful wall around, in gardens and trees and everything. And I remember, wow, this must be heaven, because it was like a crystal, everything glistened. The buildings glistened. It was beautiful. I had to have feet. I landed somehow, and I was in the outside garden. And there was this big wall, and I could see all the grass, and it had like an archway going into this place. And there was somebody over there by the archway. Now, don't you wonder, who are you going to see when you go to heaven?
Yes, absolutely.
My brother Billy. He was killed in a train wreck when he was 17 years old, and he is a mischievous spirit. He has been known to come back and visit me and really bother my friends because he does funny things, but that's Billy. No, it was my grandfather, Jim Dool. Now that surprised me, but then again, as I think about it later, it didn't. What surprised me was he died unexpectedly. He had been in the hospital, and he had had a circulatory problem, so he was going to have an amputation that should not have killed him. And then they said, we're going to take off your other leg. Well, Grandpa Jim wasn't about to have that. And it's like he just willed himself to die. Boom, he was gone. I never had a chance to say goodbye. And I always felt lost because of that. So it was my grandfather, and it was so nice to see him. I remember touching him, and it was him. It was him.
So when you saw your grandfather, did he look as you remembered him at the time when he had passed? And was his personality still there? Was it the same as what you remembered? Was he changed in any way?
He looked a little younger, and he had 2 legs. He was whole.
Oh, okay.
He was whole, and he was always loving towards me. I don't know why of all the grandkids, but he was always especially nice to me. And he entrusted me with his most prized possessions. He had Belgian draft horses, Major and Dan. This little kid, 8 years old, 7 years old, he let me take these horses down to the pond all by myself. And when I visit with him, he'd share his Whitman's chocolates. But when I talked to him, he talked to me like what I had to say was important. And most adults don't care what a 7 or 8 year old kid has to say. He was always like that. And I wanted to thank him for that, and I did. I had a chance to say, thank you for making me feel so special, Grandpa. So he said, well, okay, but you need to come with me. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go inside. So, oh, I'm going. And we went through this beautiful archway into another garden, and it is hard, as most NDE people have a hard time describing the words. And I'll try to tell you what this garden looked like.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
It was another courtyard, and there were flowers of every color. And we don't have colors in our spectrum, no. And all the fragrances, but they all blended together, so it was a lovely fragrance. And everything seemed to have a glisten. The leaves glistened, the trees glistened. There was fountains that had that little tinkling noise. I could hear birds in the trees. I could smell the trees. The grass was soft and beautiful. I heard music, but I didn't hear voices. I was touching, so I had to have hands because I was touching the flowers. There was this long colonnade. I've always liked columns. Beautiful columns. I was touching them and putting my hands on them. They were just beautiful, magnificent carved columns. And Grandpa said, well, we need to come along. I wanted to touch more. I didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted to keep touching everything. And then
I find that fascinating that despite the fact that your body's actually unconscious in a hospital bed, somehow you're able to feel, hear, see with perfect clarity. Yeah.
I have no idea what kind of a body I had, but yeah, I felt myself going through space. I felt myself with him. He recognized me, but when I was touching things, I don't know. I don't remember that part of it. I'd like to remember that part of it, but I don't know. But we went on a little bit further, and we went on. I didn't want to go any further. I wanted to stay there for quite a while, but he said, we need to go on. And I said, okay, we'll go on. And he walked me up into another courtyard, and it was the same beautiful and I could see the spires of the city beyond this wall. And he came to a doorway to another big building. Mm-hmm. He said, I have to leave you here now. You have to go in by yourself. I can't. Oh no, I didn't know. I did not want to go in that door. I was happy being in heaven with Grandpa, but I didn't know what was in there. And I wanted Grandpa. And he said, Sandy, I can't go with you. Don't be afraid. Oh, don't be afraid. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And I remember I did not want to go, but yet I knew I had to.
Yeah.
I stepped in, and I remember this brightness. This whole room was bright light. And I was very nervous because I didn't know what all this bright light was. But I heard a voice. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'm afraid. Don't be afraid. It's okay. Come down here. Sandra, it's okay. And once I heard that it's okay, second time, I walked down, and in this beautiful ornate table in the middle of this room of all light was a light entity. Now, I would like to think it's God. I think God is so much more than we can even imagine with our little pictures. Humans are so simple that God has to be something so magnificent that we probably would be afraid to see the real God. So he allows us to see him as light, and he was able to communicate with me. And, when he said the second time, don't be afraid, I wasn't. He kept kind of looking at me a little bit, and I was standing there, and I go, you know, when you're in trouble with your parents, and they call you in for a little talk, and oh dear, what have I done? Mm-hmm. I expected to be there, so I thought, okay, let's be quiet. And he said, Sandra, I gave you a second life. What have you done with that second life? Well, I thought a good mother, and I had done this, and I had done that, and I just never expected to be there.
Yeah. That's amazing. So maybe we should stop there for a moment
So
so that we can explain why this light being would be talking about giving you a second life.
it's time to go back and talk about what happened.
Yeah.
People today don't know what polio is. I'm going to be 79 years old next week. In 1953, there was a polio epidemic that went across the United States. There was no vaccine back then. And it was called infantile paralysis. Thousands of little kids had shriveled legs and they had to have braces, or it killed them. And that year, in 1953, I heard 18,000 people died from polio. Well, this was a Monday. I wasn't feeling very well, trouble breathing. My parents took me to the emergency room at Gonzales Hospital. I remember being thrown on a gurney and just rushed down the hall very, very quickly. I remember it stopping abruptly and someone jumped on my throat and cut my throat open. That's a tracheotomy scar right there.
Wow.
And they put artificial breathing because I was no longer breathing. They rushed me upstairs into isolation and put me in an iron lung. Now, an iron lung is like a big old submarine. The head sticks out and it's breathing for you externally. So the pressure pushes your chest down and then your chest goes up and it's how you breathe. It's the only way to keep you alive. Polio paralyzes everything, including your diaphragm. So I was laying there in this machine with my head stuck out and all I had was a mirror there. Well, I was a very, very sick little girl. I don't remember much of the sickness. I remember the smells of the room. I remember the smells of the medicine, that type of thing. They said on Monday there were 10 of us. On Friday there were 9 of us. Excuse me, on Friday there was 1 of us. 9 children had died. I'm the only one that was still alive. My mother was brought up. They said, Mrs. Duell, Sandy is in crisis mode. Temperature of 104. She's not doing well. We're going to lose her. So my mother sat there with Dr. Freeman, and he was my doctor, and they watched me die. They literally watched me die. They turned off the iron lung. They watched my pink face turn ashen. The doctor left Mother alone, and she sat there she didn't tell me how many hours she sat there, but she sat there long enough for me to lose my color. In the darkness, kind of twilight of the afternoon, she said, all of a sudden she heard this clunk noise coming from the iron lung, and she went over and she peered in the porthole, and it was me kicking the iron lung. I was back. They quickly got the doctor, got the iron lung going again, and then they did all the things, and after many, many months of physical therapy and speech therapy, here I am. Sandy Duell is alive. I had guilt. Oh my gosh, talk about guilt, survivor's guilt. Oh my goodness. I'm very fortunate. My polio gave me a little bit of a weakened left leg. I don't have any shriveled limbs. I don't have any, I wore braces when I learned to walk, but I'm not on braces or anything like that. But it was a hard time to learn to do everything, but I didn't want to talk to anybody. Why did Sandy Duell live?
Right.
And not all those other kids. I mean, there's 9 other kids, just, kids from Glens Falls, New York. It's a small town. And I never felt right about that. I really didn't.
Yeah, well, I can understand how you would have carried that with you for your whole life. Do you yourself have strong memories of that experience when you were 7, or is that more of like an account from your...
I don't remember dying, but I remember what was like afterward.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid that my muscles would become atrophied. There was a new process called the Sister Kinney method of wrapping a body in steamed wool. Now, remember, I was a tall kid because I was, 7 years old, but I was tall. But my body was paralyzed. They wrapped all of my limbs in hot steamed wool. Do you have any idea how much that itched? I can't talk because my throat had a trach in it.
Yeah, that sounds...
I'm there and just in agony, itching, and then they would put more hot and take them off, put more hot, take them off. And then finally I was going then into the whirlpools. I liked the whirlpools, and then they said, Sandra, imagine your finger moving. They had to repattern my brain because everything was so cooked. And then I started to walk and I started to talk, and I remember that part of it. I don't remember the dying, but I remember the recovery.
Yeah. And then I think we should also maybe mention your experience with overdose on pills and the pregnancy loss, because that was definitely something you also carried with you into the near-death experience.
That was very much the reason for it, actually.
Okay.
I wasn't able to talk about this until just 16 months ago, and it's something that I first talked about when I said A Glimpse of Heaven, and it's been my secret all these years. But I met a man named Carl. I had been in a marriage that was not much romance, and I was very disappointed in it and very lonely and unhappy. My husband did not include me in things. I wasn't allowed to talk, and it was really a bad situation. But I had my 3 kids, and then I had twins and a single, and I was very happy with my kids. And Carl came along, Mr. Charm. He was everything a woman would want. He attentive. You're lovely, because my husband said you're ugly, all these things. And after a while, you believe him, right? you're lovely, you're desirable, I love you. He made me so happy, he made me feel special. He took me to places. We had trips and vacations and things I never got to do before. Well, I was sublimely happy with him for a year because I divorced my husband to be with him. And I was sublimely happy for a year. And we were going to be married on Valentine's Day. This was Christmas Eve. And Carl was coming down to our house. So I thought, oh, this is wonderful. You know, the first Christmas I've had in a long time where I'm happy and the beginning of our life, and we're going to and I had a surprise for him. I had just found out that I was pregnant. I was 3 months pregnant with his child. Now, was older, so my family disowned me because I was involved with an older man. His children were adopted. He had no children of his own, so I thought he would be happy with this. I thought he was happy with me. I was so excited about sharing our life together. Well, Christmas Eve, he came down and he handed out the gifts in the living room. And it was nice. I thought everything, you know, Mr. Jolly, Santa Claus, everything's fine. Sandy, we need to go talk in the other room. He said, I have something to tell you. I said, I have something to tell you, too. I thought he was going to give me the diamond ring because we're going to be married on Valentine's Day, right?
Right.
Well, he goes, I like you. You like me? I think I love you. You think you love me? I can't handle teenagers again. We have to stop seeing each other. Stop now? Stop. Yes. Now? To stop seeing each other? Like it's over now? Yes. I didn't say a word.
Yeah.
He got up and he left the house. I sat in the dining room for a little while. The kids were in the living room playing with their things, you know. I thought, well, I'm not going to let my kids have their Christmas ruined because of my stupidity or what I've done with my life. So I got them off to bed with a smiley face, and I went into my room. Forget Kleenexes, they don't work. You take a washcloth or a dish towel and you start to cry. And I have never cried tears like that in my life. I was devastated. Never did I expect that. I have never felt so low in my life. I felt every dirty word. I felt dirty, stupid, betrayed, abused, really. Worthless, alone, because now my family's gone. Now what am I going to do? I have my 3 kids who I love. I work because I have to work to support my children. And I'm going to have a baby what am I going to do with this baby? I can't afford childcare. And I'm so stupid. I hated myself. I was so upset with myself that I made the biggest mistake of my life. I decided to end my life that night. I took enough pills to kill me. I wanted to die. I woke up Christmas morning, very, very sick, in a lot of pain. And Christmas morning, I miscarried that little baby. Couldn't tell anybody. I was so ashamed. So I kept it
So
in.
you were just carrying that with you up until the point of your NDE, just inside. You never told anybody.
That was not, and, you know, that year. This is up until just 16 months ago. No one knew about that baby until and this is how old? 50 years.
Wow.
I did work with psychiatrists about the baby, but I never told other than the psychiatrist about it. No family member knew, nobody knew. But it was a secret that I had kept, and I didn't want anyone to know about the psychiatrist either.
Yeah. When you were going back to the NDE, when you were with the light being, do you feel like your fear of the light being was because of this experience?
No, I had no. The fear of the light being initially was just because I was afraid. I didn't know what it was. Once I saw him, no. And I know he was looking at me because he said, "What value have you done with your life?" And I sensed him like, you know how a father looks at a child, and I sensed that he was looking right through my eyes into my soul. He knows every cell in my body. He knows exactly what I've done. He knows exactly who I am. And he said to me, I gave you a second life. And I gave you a second life. What have you done with it? You've wasted a second. I mean, he could have given it to somebody else. What have you done with it? You've wasted a life. And I said, I thought about it. You know, I thought, I've done hospice. I've done all these things, but never quite enough, I didn't think. I said, I love my 3 kids. And I had the 3 kids back there. I said, if you let me go back, because I know I will be a better parent for my kids to have at least me with their life, not just their father. And will you please let me go back? I promise you, dear God, that I will make a difference in someone's life. Please, let me go back. I was in the hospital. Oh, was I hurting? Oh, my belly hurt. There was bags and bags of blood. I had lost, transfusion after transfusion. Oh, my gosh. But I got my life together, and I said, this, Sandy, you tried it before. You've got to really do something. So I went into study groups and things like that to learn more. And the first book I read was a funny little book. It was Maxie Dunham's Dancing at Your Funeral. And when I talk to people or help people pass, I always say, we will sing and dance in heaven together. It was a simple my first little study group where I shared anything of myself with anybody. It was actually down in this little book. But God has been absolutely so real to me, especially in the last 16 to 18 months since all of this happened. No, I did not feel afraid of him at all.
Yeah, I keep hearing you refer to him as him. Did it seem as though it had a male?
I do refer to him as he or him or God or light. The voice I heard was a male voice.
Interesting.
It was definitely a male voice. The same voice I heard in heaven is the same voice I heard at retreat. It's the same voice, and it's a male voice. The energy was very, very strong. I mean, this entity obviously was very, very powerful, great power, energy. And I think of him as my dad. I think of him as my creator.
Yeah.
As male.
Did you feel, when he said, what of value have you done, did that feel like a judgment that he was separate from you and judging you, or did it feel like it was your own judgment he was reflecting?
I didn't see that as a negative from him as he was criticizing me. He just said,
Okay.
why haven't you done more?
Yeah.
Maybe I had done something that, I think he wanted me to look back at what I had done and realize it wasn't quite enough. Because what value have you done with your life? Have you made a difference? That word difference keeps popping up. Have you made a difference in someone's life? Now, making a difference in someone's life is very different from making a difference in general. Making a difference in someone's life is very specific and very powerful. And I remember that word difference. I've done the hospice. Did it make a difference? Somewhat. I worked at Glens Falls Hospital. I really thought I wanted to be a psychiatric social worker because my mental health and helping other people get well. No, I can't do that. It's too much into my heart. I get too involved with my patients. But you just have to go back and think, okay. Then I went to Saratoga Hospital, and I was a daycare lady for bringing women who had been put in Marcy State Hospital for depression. These ladies wouldn't hurt anybody. They were the sweetest little ladies that had been put away by their families. I brought them into town. They did family. They were in their 70s. I taught them how to go shopping at Grand Union, how to keep a checkbook. I got Home Extension to come in to help them make simple, hot dogs, hamburgers, make a simple little meal, get them welfare, get them money to help them have food, get them some housing. And it was a fun thing. It was all they want. These sweet little ladies, these are my ladies. They're here to say, please give me a chance. I just want to live my life. I don't want to be in an institution. I don't need to be in an institution. Just let me live my life in my little home. Help me in the grocery store if I can't find something, but please let me be free.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm doing my job. Right now, I really feel that he's happy with me. He will tell me what to say because these things, he gives me the words for and he adds in the different words. But I get the feeling that when I do this, I can just sense that I feel a warmth about me that he's happy. I pray before I do every one of these, please be with us so that this is a meaningful experience for you, for me, and for your listeners.
Yeah.
And he is so alive. And may I tell you about a special retreat time where I actually saw something else? Is this a good time to talk about that?
Yeah, that would be great. Yep.
He has, people said, I know you asked a question, did I see any scenes of life? No, people have said that, but I didn't. He looked into my mind. But I had another experience with this light entity, and I'd like to tell you about it. When I was getting my life together, one of the things I would go on a retreat because I like to study. I'm trying to learn, with the Moody book. I'm trying to find who am I? I did not. I was Sandy Duell. Then I was a mother. Now I'm a divorced woman. Who on earth? And I'm a woman who am I now? So I went on a retreat. So this one was a fun one. It was on Easter Friday night. We drove up. Now normally I drive. I'm an 8 personality, so I like to be in control. Normally I drive. This time Barbara did. And what was interesting about this retreat, 20 people were going, all members of the same church. We were the attendees, not the facilitators. And including in that group was our pastor, Clayton, and his wife, Shirley. Church members, including myself, because I was a member of this church. Well, I thought this is going to be wonderful because the title of this thing is, Who is God? What does he mean to you? Is he real? Absolutely. I can write about this one, right? So Barbara drove up, and it was interesting. It was raining, and it's in the Sky Farm is up in the Adirondacks. We're driving up the hill, and the clouds were kind of laying down on top of the building, and it was in the woods, and it was beautiful up there, about 50 miles from home, right? So we walk in, and we have a wonderful, potluck dinner together, and then we go into the training room, and the facilitators start to talk to us. They handed out the tablets and they handed out the pens and this sheet of questions. that we're going to journal about. By the way, everyone, this is a silent retreat. Now, I've never been to a silent retreat. No talking between anyone. Husbands, no words, no words. Okay with me. My kids were with their father every weekend. I'm alone. Stayed out of the dating scene for a long time because I was pretty burned by that, right? I become comfortable with Sandy alone. Fine. I had my friends in this group. I knew that I could share with them. Fine, good. Well, they had brought their rain gear. I was so busy getting my kids to go off with their dad that I forgot my rain gear. Well, I thought, no big deal. I don't want my hair getting wet anyway, right? So it gets fuzzy. So I said, well, I'm just going to go into the lodge room, and there's a big fireplace. I'm going to get that old comfy chair over there and just sit down and take a look at these questions. So I sat myself down there and kind of snuggled into this big old chair, and I opened up my book, and I started to look at the questions. And I started to do this with my hands. To turn around, and I started to squirm. Sandra, what is the matter with you? I became very overwrought. I don't know what it was. I just did not want to be there. I wanted to go home. No, when I get afraid or hurt, I'm a runner. I run. I was going to run home 50 miles. No car. I was going to run home. That's where my mind was just gone. What these questions did to me, I do not know. I don't remember them specifically. I just know the feeling was absolutely overpowering. My body was just, ugh. I threw them down on the floor. I threw everything. I got up. I did not have any. I went running out through the double doors. Wonk! Right out through the doors. Crash! Right through the double doors. Out into the trees. The driveway was a circular driveway, and there were a stand of trees in the middle. And I'm running into the woods like this. And I look at, there's my friend watching me be a jerk. I go, gosh. So I stopped. I kind of leaned up against a tree, and I go, oh dear. Oh my gosh. Dear God, why am I here? Why did you bring me here? What do you want of me? Dear God, why am I here? And open up my eyes and go, oops. I was completely surrounded by this most beautiful column of white light. I was not getting rained on. I was not wet. I had not gotten wet. And I thought, oh my gosh. It felt like I was wrapped in this big, white, fluffy fleece blanket. I have never felt so loved and hugged by anything in my life. It was warm. It was soft. But yet it was powerful. Whoa, what is this? I've never, ever heard of anything like this ever happening.
Did it instantly feel like exactly what you had experienced when you were with the light being in the NDE? Did it feel like, oh wow, this is the same presence?
And then I heard the words, Sandra, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. This is the beginning. It was the same voice. This is exactly where you are supposed to be. This is the beginning. Talk about validation. I could not have asked for any better validation for my entire life, let alone what was happening in my life. To have God talk to me a second time with witnesses, to see the light on me here, to feel it, to not be getting wet, and to know that I'm on the right path. I am on the right path, and He's there, He's real, He's there. So I thought, I held on for quite a while because it really felt good. Then afterwards, like, okay, you have to go in, Sands. Okay. And I didn't get wet going back in either. Well, remember, this is a silent retreat. So people saw me out in the rain, but they couldn't talk to me. They came into the lodge, into the bunk room, they couldn't talk to me. I had the best sleep I've had in my entire life. Talk about sleep. It was blissful. So I woke up and I thought, that must have been a dream. Last night could not have been real. It couldn't have been. That is so real, unreal, so surreal, so unbelievable. I must have dreamt it, right? So I got up, got dressed, and went and sat down in the kitchen for breakfast. All of a sudden, whoa, what happened? What happened to you? What did you see? I didn't say a word. I said, Clay, Sandy, you were in a column of light. You look so beautiful, you're smiling, you look so happy. And it was gorgeous. And it was Shirley, yes, Sam, Ruth, all of them. They saw the light. It was so real for them. I said, did you hear the words? What words? I said, you didn't hear? No, they didn't hear. I think our words are psychic. No, they didn't hear the words, but they saw the light. All those people, validation that what happened to me was real. Now, Clayton does not usually share his pulpit with too many people, and he said, Stan, you've got to go up and talk tomorrow, Easter Sunday, and tell people of our church what happened to us here this weekend. That's the first time I ever talked about it. And I did. And that was when I started to do the little NDEs from time to time to widows groups and, little things like that. But how blessed I am to have been given not once but two true validations of I'm on the right path. And I was like, okay, what's he going to do for me next? What's he going to ask for me next? I thought I would write a book. No, I could write a book. love to write a book, but are 150,000 people going to see it? 1,000 people so far have heard this message, but thousands have said they liked it, and thousands have commented. And what I do, and I will do this for you too, if people give me a comment, I will respond to their comment, and I do welcome them to contact me on Messenger, and I do contact. Sometimes people need to hear me for a little while to kind of get their life together, and they outgrow me and off they go, and that's.
Yeah.
But that was a gift that is just unbelievable. It makes everything so right. Then again, okay, I'm still not making it right. I'm still not doing it right. So what happened was May of 22, I was here in our home in Florida, and we were going to go to the pool, and I was walking down to get the towels to go swimming. Feeling great, felt wonderful, nothing wrong, felt great. I walked in, and all of a sudden I started to pass out. Now I'm almost 6 foot tall, so I went down like a tree. Wonk. Well, I started to feel myself fall, and I had surgery the September before. It's called a laminectomy. A large section of my lumbar spine was fixed. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall and I'm going to hurt my back. And I remember throwing my hands behind myself as I was falling. My head hit the door, big glass door, clunk, clunk, clunk. I remember 3 separate clunks that hit the floor on top of my hands. Well, I remember screaming, my dog came running, my husband came running. My hands swelled up like sausages. Take off the ring real fast, sausages. And I thought, oh my gosh, I had broken both of my wrists. I had broken my back in 2 places. Severely injured my neck, and I had a severe concussion. Well, that kind of stopped me, didn't it? Mm-hmm. So I was kind of hiding. I think during COVID, I was hiding out. I wasn't doing anything. I was being kind of lazy, and well, I can't talk because I had a stroke, and my voice isn't right, and if I try to talk and I embarrass myself, so this is the devil saying, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't do it, Sandra. No. Apparently, I wasn't listening to the Lord because He hit me in the head with a rock.
Yeah.
Knocked me over. Well, I was sitting in my bedroom, look out my window, and there's a lovely pond. We have little ducks and otters and things. And I remember sitting there with my hands in casts, could do nothing, could not write, could not even hold a cup of coffee, could do nothing. My husband had to shower me, hose me down with the shower. He had to put a straw in front of me to drink. It was horrible. I remember praying and saying, dear God, I should have died. And there's been a couple times when I should have died, and I didn't. What am I missing? What am I not doing? What am I not understanding? And as I sat there like this, the words came to me just like someone was on the telephone was talking to me. You're going to get well, that same voice, you're going to get up, and you're going to tell your story, all of it, the good. No, all of it, Sandra. No, all of it. No, all of it. No. Well, I had Bob come in with the pen, and I started to dictate. Really, it's the outline, the bullet outline that I do my presentations with.
Yeah.
It was chronological at that time, but it's talking about how the different steps of how these different things happen, then talking about the NDEs, talking about the suicide, talking about all the negative things of having mental illness or being thought that I had mental illness and overcoming all of that.
Yeah.
Another thing I did, and you might get a chuckle out of this, I was in a therapy session, kind of light, we're getting not too heavy anymore, we're getting kind of light things. And Dr. Bryan said, I want you to imagine yourself as an inanimate object. Now, you have to have a sense of humor to try to get well, right? What is an inanimate object? Is it a table, a chair? Well, the other 9 started to talk. One was a tiger. They were all these aggressive animals. I thought, I must be really nuts. I have got to be absolutely out of my mind because, So I go, okay, dear God, what am I? You are a beautiful Tiffany lamp broken into a million little pieces of coal. You will never be the same, but you will be whole again, and you will be better, and you will be beautiful. And I knew then, yes, I'm on the road to recovery. So when I do my presentations, I do hand out little colored pieces of glass and ask people to share my story with their friends with glass.
Can I ask you this experience of kind of like when you received like the words, you're the Tiffany lamp? Because I think a lot of people have the experience of second guessing thoughts that they receive, whether that's true, whatever you want to call it, guidance from God, inner guidance. How are you able to distinguish? Is it very, very clear to you now because of the NDE?
Now it is because it's the same voice.
Yeah.
When I first started hearing it, I wasn't quite sure, is that me imagining this?
Right.
Well, I heard the cloud, that was definitely it. I did not hear his voice again until the time when it was in my bedroom. I don't hear it a lot, but then after I heard the voice, then boom, it is popping. I was doing a presentation, my first one. I met my IANS friends. There's a local group of people that study near-death experiences. I didn't know it, an hour from my house, and I met them and I did a presentation. During the first presentation, Katrina was doing a little slideshow, my daughter, and I went off script because God said, you need to tell them how you healed your broken heart. He will do that, and it's a voice. It's the same voice. It's a male voice. It's a firm voice. It's not my voice.
Yeah. So it's more than just a thought. It's an actual voice that you hear. Yeah.
And I learned to listen to that voice. That voice, don't go there, don't do this. This person needs you. That person needs you. Go now type of thing. Yes. Mm-hmm. But remember, I've been doing this for 20 years. This is I've learned you have to learn how to trust him and trust yourself, and I do. Because his voice I become so strong with him. I know his voice, and apparently I'm not done yet. I know I'm going to go to heaven. There's no question. I fulfilled my mission, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go to heaven tomorrow. I hope, I might, I don't know. I hope not, because my husband and my kids need me, but whatever.
Are you no longer afraid to die, I'm assuming?
I'm not afraid to die. No,
yeah.
I'm not afraid to die at all. I look forward to heaven. Death is, we're all afraid to die. Everyone is afraid to die. We all want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Well, it doesn't always hurt. It didn't hurt when I died, and other people will say it when you lift up out of your body. Your poor body's maybe really smashed. You don't hurt when you die. Mm-hmm. Heaven one way or another. Even those that come back, their bodies they're whole again, and that's all good.
Well, that's why I'm so grateful that you're sharing your story, because I think that is most people's greatest fear is dying. We don't know what to expect, and to hear someone who actually has been through it, to me it's one of the most reassuring things. Even though I've never had an NDE, I feel much less afraid now after having heard stories like yours.
Oh, please don't be afraid. And people, when I do help them pass, they're afraid, and that you're something that they're afraid, so I just hold them in my arms and I tell them what to expect, and my gentle voice will calm them down, and this is what's going to happen, and your body's going to rise up, and you're going to go through the ceiling, and you're going to go up into the sky, and you're going to go to heaven, and your so-and-so is waiting for you on the other side, and life is eternal, and you're going to see that loved one there. And they just relax, just so relaxed in my arms. And I've been blessed with the privilege of helping 7 very dear people pass. I don't do it all the time. I haven't done it lately. I'll do it when God wants me to. But right now, this is what he wants me to do. He wants me to tell the story. That's my purpose. But I also want to share with you how to heal a broken heart, because that's very, very important. Okay?
Oh, okay, because that was also a message that you received.
Right, that was a message and I'd like to share with people. When I was going through all of these, remember, I had the pain of being the sole survivor. I had the pain of the baby, the pain of the betrayal, the bad marriage. I had all these negatives in my heart.
Yeah.
When I do a live presentation, I give them little hearts like this to hold and put against their chest. But what I tell people to do, and this is what I taught myself to do, because I had no book told me how to do this. The doctors really didn't know how to tell me how to do this. But pictures, I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to try to hold it up. This is an image of a broken heart. You see all the little knobbies on, see the breaks in the heart?
Yes. Yeah.
Knobs. Well, picture that as sometimes we have an Advent box where you put candy in for the children. You open up the little Advent box. So I tell people, put your hand on your heart and imagine your heart has all these little boxes, some bigger than others. The little boxes represent the little pains. Maybe Aunt Bessie was mean to you once, or maybe, some little thing that you can deal with. You've got the big hurts, the big hurt, the baby, the death of a loved one. You couldn't say, they're big hurts. Don't try to do them first. When you get brave enough, open your first little door and see what's in there. And take it out and look at it and digest what it is. Do you want to keep it? Do you fix it? Throw it away? And then get something nice and put a nice memory in there. Some sunshine, some happy noise. Close the door. Go to another one. Maybe another day later, do another one. Little by little, I feel brave today. I'm going to open the middle-sized door here. This is kind of the big one here, okay? And deal with that and celebrate in yourself what you're doing, how you're celebrating with this, and let it go. Put something good in there. Sunshine, love, happiness, something good. Close the door. Little by little, you find yourself, you're starting to sit up taller. Arms are coming back. Your chest is opening up. You're healing yourself. Congratulate yourself. It takes a long time. It's taken me a long time to learn how to do this. It's taken me a while to share it. But it works. It works.
So in terms of, even if let's say that we start with a small hurt and a small door, is that more of an internal process of thinking through how you're forgiving another person or forgiving a situation? Or is it more about feeling love for another person?
It can be everything. It's any feelings, whatever is in, every person is different.
Yeah.
So like, with the baby, I felt guilty about the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I had to deal with the guilt I felt. That baby didn't hold me responsible for that. That baby's gone on to heaven, has done other things.
Right.
But I felt guilty about that. But it's in your head. Everything is individual. It's you. It's what you're thinking about. It could be a little thing. It could be a big thing. Something that's big to me might not be big to somebody else.
Right.
What your heart tells you is what don't let someone tell you what your heart says. You know what your heart feels. And reach into your own heart and work on it. And don't be afraid to love yourself just a little bit. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. We don't do that very well. And show yourself some love by being gentle with yourself. I beat myself up, oh my gosh, for years.
Yeah.
That I just believed I was not a good person and that I would never find love again and that I wasn't lovable and all those horrible things. And that's not true.
Yeah. So do you feel like God is waiting for all of us, no matter what we've done in our life, what we've been through, what our specific experiences are? God is the same God for all of us that you experience.
I think he's the
Forgiving,
same.
loving God.
I think if you believe in him, because the Bible tells us that we need to realize that Jesus is there for us. And that we have to believe that God is real. And that if we are sorry for things that we might have done wrong, which I was definitely sorry for what I had done, he will forgive us and he wants us all to go. He loves us all. He loves all of us. It's just harder sometimes for us to know that we can love him and that he will love us too.
Yeah. Well, I guess that we could close with how has your perception of what heaven and God are, how has that changed from before your NDE till now, even today?
He's very real. He's very, 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 very alive to me. And my life has just changed so much that I'm involved with people all the time. I'm writing on working on my presentation all the time. And I'm more aware of everything around me, the people around me. I get the comments back from all the people that, I needed to hear what you said today. I just am so excited and so happy and so thankful that God is making these things happen around us because of his message going out. I am very, very attuned to what I'm doing right now and more so than ever before. Also attuned to everything. I think my nerves are just all absorbing everything.
Yeah, that's incredible. Is there anything you'd like to say to finish? Any important, truths, lessons that you feel like you've taken that you want people to hear about before we close?
The greatest truth is that we've been given a wonderful gift. It's called life. And we get firsthand that God and heaven are real. I'm telling you that. So that's nice to know. We have life and that he is forgiven and that we can have everlasting life. I'm looking forward to going to heaven. I'm looking forward to seeing loved ones. I'm looking forward to going back through that colonnade again and talking to that entity and understand. I'd like to see Jesus. I'd like to meet other people, like Jacqueline Kennedy, people like that. Life is real. Enjoy it. Don't waste it. Don't wait. Live life today to the fullest. If you love someone, tell them. If you need to forgive someone, do it now because they might not be here tomorrow. That is something I do want to tell people too. Especially in your heart, when you're cleaning your heart. Tell them, you might not be there tomorrow, you don't have it tomorrow. Today is what you have. Enjoy it, love it, and know that you're loved. And give a message through me or through other people like me, through you, that it's real.
Yeah. Well, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing all of your truth and all of your experience as God asked you to.
Whether I wanted to or not.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.